Hi everybody, I'm Steve Hurst with VentriloquistCentral.com. I'm the webmaster and the partner with Dan Willinger. And what I wanted to do is take a few moments to talk to you about the Ventriloquist Central Birthday Bash that we have coming up here on October 8th in Boston. Now, this is our 5th year anniversary for VentriloquistCentral.com. And so we thought we'd throw a bash or a party. Now, kind of how all this came to be is actually 5 years ago, even this month, Dan and I were working on creating VentriloquistCentral.com. It all happened when Ray Gwill introduced Dan and I at the 2006 Vent Haven Convention. And right away, Dan and I hit it off great as friends. And we were talking, in fact, we were talking in the dealer room because Dan had a table that year showing some of his figures and selling them. And he talked about how he would like to kind of showcase his figures. And I said, well, that's a great idea because I've always wanted to create a ventriloquist website. So that's how the idea started, and then from there we created VentriloquistCentral.com, which I could safely say is probably the largest website in one place that has all the information that it does about ventriloquism and ventriloquists. So we got together and thought, well, let's celebrate our 5th anniversary and let's have a bash. So that's how the idea of the birthday bash came together. Now, I thought I would talk to you about, some of the presentations that we're going to have. We're going to have some presentations. I know a lot of ventriloquists always talk about joke writing and comedy writing, and so we're going to have a presentation from a pro that's going to talk about joke writing and comedy. We're also going to have some people there talking about figure building, different aspects of it. And yours truly, I'm going to talk about marketing a little bit. I've been in the business world for over 30 years. I've done coaching to people in other businesses. And when it comes to sales and marketing, it's basically the fundamental principles are all the same. So I'm going to be talking to you about marketing as a pro if you want to do that, or even as a hobby. I've actually helped some other ventriloquists do this. So that's some of the things that we're going to talk about. We are in the final stages of putting together the complete schedule and itinerary, and when we get that ready, we'll post it on the Ventriloquist Central Birthday Bash page. And by the way, you can go there at ventriloquistcentral.com/birthday bash, or you can click on any of the links that you see on some of the pages on Ventriloquist Central. Now, some of the people that are going to be there and some of the presenters, this first couple, I consider them very personal friends, and actually they were, my family when I was out in Washington State, and that's Ray and his lovely wife, Barbara Gwill. Now, you're not going to meet two nicer people, I can guarantee you that. And in fact, when I had first called Ray about some questions on figure building, we didn't know each other, and he ended up talking to me for over an hour, answering every question I had. And then a year later, I was lucky enough to meet him, and from then on, he invited me over to see his workshop, and he started teaching me how to build figures. And I owe a debt of gratitude that I can never repay Ray and Barbara, but they are that accessible, and so they'll be there at the birthday bash. So if you have any questions about figure building, you could ask him. You could also ask him about performing as a pro, because Ray was a pro ventriloquist and performed for many years. Another person that's going to be there is Bill Nelson. Now, we all know Bill Nelson's work, and he does great stuff. I've talked to Bill many times on the phone. Again, another person that's very accessible, gives knowledge freely, so he'll definitely be someone that you'd want to talk to at the birthday bash. And then, like I said, I'm going to also talk about the marketing aspect of it. So I'll be happy to answer any questions. And there's going to be many pros there. We've got quite a few pros that are going to be there, so you can talk to them about any aspect of ventriloquism. The setting of the Ventriloquist Central Bash is going to be a little more intimate because we can only have 70 people at this. So you'll get to mingle and talk and really get to know everybody. And like I said, You can ask anybody anything, and they'll be happy to help you out. Now, let's talk about the show that we're really planning. And we feel we got 3 top-notch performers. First performer is going to be Bob Abdu. Most of you know him as Mr. Puppet. Now, Bob is what I call a true entertainer. I have watched Bob perform. I saw him perform at a function where there were small kids and adults. And I watched him do an hour show, and he kept everybody's attention. Now, to some events, an hour show would seem like a very long show. But I can guarantee you he had everybody's attention, he captivated everybody, and he entertained them throughout. And I was amazed at how fast-paced and how he kept going through this whole show. It was really amazing. So Bob's going to be, performing at our Saturday night show. The second person I like to call a personal friend. I met him in 2007 at the Van Haven Convention, and that's Ed Thomas and Hugo. Now, Ed is a wonderful performer. I've seen a lot of his stuff. You can see it on YouTube. And Ed, I think, actually, the first performance he did, he was one of the original performers on Noah's Ark, if I'm not mistaken. And all kidding aside, Ed's been performing, I think, over 60 years, so he really does know his craft, and he is very good at it. So he's definitely a show that you don't want to miss. And then our last performer is going to be Mike Robinson. Now, to the ventriloquist world, a lot of people may not know Mike, but Mike's been performing for, gosh, many years. In fact, I think he started out as a magician and then got into Vent. He's performed, I think, over 20 years for the Holland American Cruise Lines, and he also does corporate shows as well. Now, if you know anything about the cruise lines, in the last couple of years, they've really cut back on their entertainment. But Mike is such a valuable part of the Holland Cruise Lines that he's been working ever since and getting extra gigs too. So he's definitely someone that you're going to want to see his show. Now, he's never been to a ventriloquist convention of any kind. So this will be a chance to meet somebody that you haven't really seen anywhere else. And I actually just talked to Mike last weekend, and he's really looking forward to coming to the birthday bash, meeting all the ventriloquists, and getting to know and share some ideas. And I've talked with him many times, and he's great at sharing ideas and brainstorming with you and this type of thing. So you definitely want to meet Mike at the birthday bash. And of course, what I call the coup de grace of going to this whole thing will be to see Dan's Ventriloquist Central collection. Now, I'm like all of you out there. I've never seen the collection in person. Being in Oklahoma and Dan's in Boston, he's always sending me pictures and the videos and stuff, and so I see it just like you do. I put up the pictures and put up the videos and, salivate over all these figures. So I personally am looking forward to seeing the Ventriloquist Central collection. As a matter of fact, to me it's worth the price of admission to see that, because I would have to guess it's the largest private collection of ventriloquist figures out there. And he's got a lot of history with a lot of the figures there. Some of them have been used by famous vents, some still living, and some have passed away. But there's some great stories behind a lot of the figures that are in the Ventriloquist Central collection. And of course, one of the things we're planning on doing that we've talked about, we're going to have a grand prize, and it's going to be a full-size professional figure. Now, what a lot of people don't know is actually I'm building that figure. I'm finishing it up right now. It's a boy figure. It's a cheeky boy. It's a real cute figure, and I know that whoever wins it is going to be very pleased with it. So that's another thing that's going to be there, that somebody's going to take that figure home with them. Now, I know it's the economy's kind of in a shambles, some say, but you really are going to want to try and do whatever you can to be at the birthday bash, because I guarantee it's going to be a fun time. If you think about it, we're not asking much for the price to get into it, and basically that's just going to cover all of our costs of getting the room and doing everything that we're doing to try to provide this for you. If you added it all together, maybe the travel and the motel room, you're probably looking at a weekend at the lake, or maybe 2 or 3 nights out on the town. So we tried to make it as affordable as possible, and I I can guarantee you're going to have a lot of fun. Now, if you know Dan and I, kind of to borrow a line from Steve Martin and Dan Aykroyd, we're two wild and crazy guys, and so you can guarantee it's going to be a fun time there. It's going to be in Boston, as I said. It's going to be October 8th, and you can do like I do. I'm a historical buff, so I plan on going a few days early because I want to take in some of the sights in Boston. But I can tell you it'll be a fun time, and I'd hate for you to be like some of the people we hear from after the Vin Haven convention that tell us they love our coverage, they love the videos we've done and the blog reports that we've done, and they sure wish they would have gone. So I'd hate to get an email from you after the birthday bash when you hear about the fun that we've had and everything and you say, I wish I would have gone. So if you're on the fence, please make your reservation. Get in there right now because we can only handle 70 people. Dan's collection is in his house, so we can't have a whole lot of people going through the house at one time. So go to ventriloquistcentral.com/birthday bash. Click on the link and make your reservation. Get there. You can pay by PayPal, credit card, check, money order, however you want to do it. But I know I speak for my partner, Dan Willinger, when I say we would love to see you at the Ventriloquist Central Birthday Bash, October 8th in Boston. See you there.